What's up everybody, OT for Tech here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the HTC One M8. Now I was a little hesitant about posting this review and unboxing only because it's so late, but I feel like I owe it to my fans and all of my subscribers. Now before we get started, let's just take a quick look at the specs of this phone. As you can see, it has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 2.3 GHz quad-core processor. It has 2 GB of RAM. It has 32 GB of onboard storage, which can be expanded with a micro SD card up to 128 gigs. It has a 5-inch 1080p IPS Full HD display. It has the HTC Boom Sound speakers, and of course it has the 4 ultra pixel camera on the back with the duo camera this time, and it has a 5 megapixel camera on the front. The aperture on the rear camera is also f2.0, and we'll get into the specs later on into this video to see how well they perform on this device. But for now, let's just go ahead and rip open the packaging and see what comes inside this box. Now first off, taking a look at the packaging, you can see it resembles a lot of last year's model. The real changes are going to be with the device itself, but for now let's just go ahead and remove the device and the tray that it comes in and set it aside so we can see what comes underneath it. The first thing I'm going to show you is the power brick itself. We'll go ahead and remove it out of its packaging and take a look. It comes in a black glossy material, it has the HTC logo, and it looks very similar to the original HTC One power brick. You also get a black data cable for syncing and charging your phone, and you also get a set of headphones. These aren't the Beats Audio headphones, but they'll still do the job. They're better than the Apple EarPods, and they fit more comfortable as well, considering they do come with replacement earbuds. They also have inline controls for answering the phone and changing your music as well. You also get some paperwork or Verizon literature, and you get tons of it. And when I say tons, I mean tons. We're not going to go through it all. I'm not going to read any of it to you because we probably will never see it again. So we'll just go ahead and remove that and put it to the side. You also get a nice chrome HTC logoed SIM card removal tool. It comes in different locations depending on your carrier, but this is the Verizon model and this is where you'll find it. So let's go ahead and remove the phone and get it unwrapped from the packaging. There's always something really exciting about getting a new device and just pulling off the wrapper. It's almost like being a kid and opening your first candy bar. My first impressions when I'm pulling this phone out of the box is just, I can't believe how premium this phone actually feels. If you're used to the original model HTC One and you enjoyed it and you like the way it felt, you're going to be in love with this one. Though it is a little bit more bulky and it's a bit longer and it's a little bit more tougher to control with one hand, it still fits in the hand well. And I love the cold feeling. The metal actually feels different than the previous model. It's a bit more smooth and it has a brushed stainless look. And I just love how cold it feels in the hand all the time. HTC got a lot of positive comments about their previous model design, and I'm glad they have not changed it. They figured why mess up a good thing, and I'm glad they went this route. They took a great product and tweaked it in ways that it needed to be tweaked to make it better. Taking a look at the back, you can see the brushed stainless design, and you can see the antennas, which are the black strips embedded into the back of the phone. You also have some more Verizon logoing, and I really hate that Verizon put such a large logo on such a beautiful phone. At the top of the back of the phone, you're going to find the 4 megapixel ultra pixel camera with the True Tone flash. I call it True Tone flash because it's basically the same flash that's on the iPhone. It has an orange flash and a yellow flash, and combined they make the perfect white flash that's not going to oversaturate or brighten skin tones. You also have the duo camera, which is responsible for basically depth perception. So it's going to give you depth control and to be able to refocus your images after you take the picture. We'll get more into that later on in the video to see how that adds up as well. At the top you have a glossy black strip, and that is actually your IR blaster. It looks very futuristic. I like the way it looks. You also have your power button at the top. Taking a look at the side with the volume rocker, you have your volume up and down buttons along with a micro SD card slot. Yes, I said it folks, a micro SD card slot. That is amazing that HTC finally added that in because the HTC One definitely needed that. On the opposite side, you're going to find the nano SIM card slot, which is actually huge considering the small size of a nano SIM card. And here's a quick look at the front. You can see the Boom Sound speakers, the front-facing camera, and the 5-inch LCD IPS display. Here's a quick look at the front-facing camera, the proximity sensor, and you also have a LED notification light which is hidden behind the top speaker grill. And here's a quick demonstration of the micro SD card slot. As you can see, I have a 64 gigabyte micro SD card in there, and it's up to 128 gig compatibility. And of course you have your nano SIM card slot, which is great for people coming from an iPhone, because all you have to do is just take out your iPhone SIM card and throw it in and you're ready to go. Here's a quick comparison between last year's model phones. As you can see, the Galaxy Note 3, the HTC One, the original model, the Galaxy S4, the Motorola Moto X, and the iPhone 5S. The HTC M8 fits comfortably between the Note 3 and the previous model HTC One. So if you're coming from the Galaxy Note 3 and you're looking for a slightly smaller device, but you still want to retain that large screen, the HTC One M8 may be your choice and may be the way to go. It fits comfortably in the hand, and if you're used to a large phone, then this will be no stranger to you at all. When it comes to thickness, it's basically thicker than the Galaxy Note 3, the original HTC One, and the iPhone 5S, but it is slightly thinner than the Motorola Moto X. Nevertheless, the design of the phone itself fits very comfortable in the hand due to the fact that HTC One claims they designed it from, holding a guitar and things like that. So it's ergonomically structured to fit in the hand better. Here's a comparison between last year's HTC model, and as you can see, there's a significant difference in length. The new HTC One is much longer, and it's actually a bit thicker than the previous year's model. Now, HTC could have shrunk this phone a lot just by getting rid of that unwanted branding above the bottom boom sound speaker. But they did listen to their customers, and they finally got rid of the capacitive buttons and got on-screen buttons. Thank goodness. But in a world where phones are constantly getting smaller, they've come to a halt with this design. The phones are actually getting larger and a bit thicker than their previous models. As you can see here, the new model is slightly thicker than the original HTC One. The rear of the phones have not changed too much. As you can see, they're both metal design, except for the new HTC One has a brushed aluminum type design, and you won't find the Beats Audio logoing on the back of the new M8. HTC must have really liked the way LG made their phones, because they also have incorporated the knock feature to turn on the phone. If you swipe to the right, you access blink feed. Swiping to the left will access your widgets, which I don't have any currently set up. Swiping down will access voice dialing, and swiping up will actually unlock your device. The screen does not need to be on to use these gestures. After a while, I started experiencing a camera bug. Every time I'd open it, it would say, unfortunately, the camera has stopped, and it would continuously do this and not allow me to use the camera. But after 2 factory resets and a clear of the defaults, I actually fixed the problem. I don't have too many complaints about this camera. In my personal opinion, it's a good camera. I mean, considering it's on a smartphone, you're not going to get a DSLR type quality image, but you're going to get some pretty good shots, and it's more than capable of replacing your standard point and shoot. And it's extra portable, and you're always going to have it with you because it's a smartphone. You have tons of modes to shoot in. You have your standard camera app, which you can take tons of pictures in, and it has HDR and tons of settings as well, and we'll get more into those in just a minute. You can also record video in 1080p. Zoe is still available, so they have not gotten rid of that, and there is now a selfie mode, which is excellent considering it's a 5 megapixel wide angle front facing camera. So you're going to be able to take great selfies, but they're not still the best quality. The iPhone 5S tends to have a little bit better white balance, but it's not bad whatsoever. You have the dual capture, and of course you have the panorama feature inside the camera itself. But let's go back to the original camera. Let me just give you a quick rundown of some of the settings that are inside the camera. You can adjust the type of scene it is, such as night mode, you have stabilizer mode, but now you also have a manual mode, which gives you manual settings over the ISO, the exposure, color balance, and you even have access to manually control the focusing system now. And in my testing, I took some decent shots in manual mode, but you're not going to get the shots that you would on the Nokia 1020. Now with the Duo camera comes a whole lot of goodies and complete customizations of your pictures, which is excellent for, photographers and things like that. Now some of these goodies include U-Focus, which gives you the ability to change your focus after you have taken the photo. For the most part, it works fairly well. I would say maybe 75% of the time. There are times where it just doesn't really work or work like it should at all. You can also change the backgrounds of your images. You can do things like beach mode, you have the total blur, you can just do a color shift in the background, and you can also add 3D effects such as leaves falling, you have snow, you can do dandelions and things like that. They're pretty cool and flashy, but would you use them every day? Probably not. They're good for parties and just to show off your phone, but as in, just using it on a day in, day out basis when you're taking pictures, probably not. But you have a lot of other things such as the 3D effect, which is a cool party effect, but again, you're not going to use it every day. You have your basic editing options. You can even add like mustaches and glasses and mask and things like that. And if you are a big time Instagrammer, there are tons of type of filters that you can use. You can also add different picture frames, and of course you can crop your pictures and things like that. There are a lot of photography customizations that come with the software on the HTC. And speaking of software, it is running Sense 6.0, so you're getting the updated version of Sense straight out of the box. Now I did take some sample images. The first 5 pictures will be with the front-facing camera. They are my selfies, so I hope you enjoy the pictures, and I'm just gonna hush and let the music play while you watch. I hope you guys enjoyed the sample images. Here's some sample videos. A lot of people are complaining because this phone does not have the optical image stabilization that the previous model have. But my thing is, the iPhone 5S doesn't have optical image stabilization, and the video comes out quite well. Granted, sometimes if your hand is shaky, your images won't come out as sharp, but I've had no problem. I mean, it has a fast shutter speed, and due to the software in the Sense UI and with the camera software, the processing is actually very well. As you can see here, I'm driving down the road, it's raining, the road is not the smoothest road at all, and it's pretty stable. I mean, it's not real shaky, it's not any worse than the iPhone is. So if you like the iPhone video capability, this phone here will be just as good, if not better. When it comes to the stabilization of the image and video quality, it's not always about having OIS. Sometimes it's about how powerful the processing software is behind the camera itself. Now let's just take a quick moment to bask in the beauty of this phone again. Just watching the light reflect on it and just seeing the metal design, I absolutely love the design of this phone. It's easy to put in and out of your pocket. It's not too big where it's gonna weight your pocket down. It's not that heavy. It does have a little bit of weight to it, but it gives you a type of feeling knowing you're holding a premium device. It's very sturdy. We'll get more into the software side of things. One of the issues I have with the Verizon phone is it does not have a stock internet browser. I have looked and looked and looked through my phone, and there is not an HTC stock internet browser. The internet browser that you're gonna get is Chrome, and I believe this is a Verizon thing. Verizon has removed the stock HTC browser and only allowed you to use Chrome. Why Verizon would do this is beyond me. But then again, Verizon likes to stick their hands in things they don't need to stick their hands in. The gaming on this phone is absolutely wonderful due to the 5-inch IPS LCD display, which features 441 ppi. The resolution on this screen is absolutely beautiful. And if you pair that with the Snapdragon 801 2.3 GHz quad-core processor, you get some amazing responsiveness whatever you're doing, whatever game you're playing. It doesn't matter how powerful it is, this phone will be able to handle it. And you have the 2 GB of RAM also that helps you just fly through processing, and it's just absolutely amazing how powerful this phone is. I have not experienced any lag when it comes to the frame rate or anything during any of my gameplay. The 2600 milliamp battery also was enough power to get me through from night to day. It lasted me a full day whether I was playing games, watching YouTube videos, sending texts, making conference calls, even getting email. I am 100% happy that HTC bumped up their battery from 2300 to 2600, and I am very, very pleased with it. But if there's one thing that smartphones really need to improve on, it's battery. This phone will get you through a day, but if you're a heavy smartphone user, you're going to need to charge your phone at night. It's not going to go above that 24-hour period, and I know that without a doubt. If you are a heavy smartphone user, I don't even see you getting more than 12 to 16 hours of use. If you're one of those people that love to watch movies and YouTube videos on their phone, The multimedia experience on this phone is amazing due to the boom sound speakers, the fact that it's an LCD IPS display, the fact that it's a 5-inch display, and the viewing angles and just the natural colors of the display. They're not oversaturated. They're very much like the iPhone display, so you're gonna get more realistic colors. It has still deep dark blacks even though it's not a OLED display, and the whites are still very bright and very vibrant. Overall, the display on this phone is amazing. Probably one of the best displays I've used to date on a smartphone. But then again, that's personal preference, and I'm not here to strike any fires or anything like that. This is just my personal opinion, and to date, this is probably the best display I have ever used on a phone. When it comes to just day-to-day tasks such as browsing the web, again, this is the Verizon model, so the only web browser I have is Chrome unless I download one from the market. But overall, my browsing experience has been great. There's been no lag whatsoever. Pinch to zoom is fine. Scrolling up and down is fine. And of course, loading web pages on the LTE network is fast and much of a breeze. I've had no problems with any kind of lag or when I pinch to zoom, text rendering, or anything like that. It's been great and 100% happy with the experience of browsing through this smartphone. Now with the new version of Sense, which is Sense 6.0, you're going to get an updated version of Blink Feed. It's a little bit more user friendly, it's a little bit flatter, and overall the performance of Blink Feed has greatly improved. Now it's a little bit more easier to use, and I've actually found myself using it more. The previous model of the HTC One with the older version of Sense, I actually did not use Blink Feed at all. As a matter of fact, I went ahead and installed the Google Play Edition or the Google Now Experience browser and just used Google Now. As you can see here, viewing angles are great due to the IPS display. Here's a quick look from the front and here's one from the side. You can still 100% see the screen and see what's on the screen, so your viewing angles are going to be great, and not only at night but during the day as well. This phone is available on all 4 major carriers in the US. It comes in gold, silver, and the gunmetal that you see here. It's available for $199 on contract or $549 off contract, and you can also purchase it on the HTC website. So go ahead and leave me a comment in the section below, let me know what you think. If you like this video, hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and as always, thank you guys for watching and for all your support.